Hello and welcome to the post-match reaction to the Crusaders versus the Blues. It finished 19-11, so another home win for the Crusaders and not a big surprise, let's be honest. And the Blues actually in this one could have taken it late on, but that would have been against the run of play. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, your best place rate predictions and opinion. Yeah, let's get through how this game went. Well, both sides started kicking the ball early on, and the commentators were talking a lot about the dew and the fog and all of this kind of stuff. Um, and when we look at the stats, 43 kicks by the Crusaders, that's a lot of kicks, 32 by the Blues. And early on, they both were trying those little kicks through the line, but actually hitting players instead. Havili showed us early on that he was happy to run the ball back. And when we get to look at his run meters, I'm sure they're going to be pretty high because he did. But early on, we saw what was going to be a problem for the Blues. Their lineout really was not functioning. And they lost an early lineout. It says they only lost 1 out of 6, but yeah, they showed no confidence in that lineout. Scrum, also, it says they won all their scrums, but all their scrums were going backwards, and that was not good ball that they got. So the set piece of the Blues was a real problem in this game. Not only that, but so was the penalty count. 12 in the end to 8 by the Crusaders, but it was much more uneven in the first half. And that's how the Crusaders got their early points. 2 penalties were knocked over. And pretty much, the Crusaders spent pretty much the first half of the game down in the Blues half of the pitch, with 64% territory in that first half. They really did dominate that. They did eventually get themselves a try, line out, Maul, pull down, under advantage, a little tap over the top by Richie Mwanga. Crotty collected it, gave it over to Hall, and off Hall goes to speed over and score. And suddenly it's 13-0 after 20 minutes. And yet the game looks like it's about to blow out. The Blues actually were doing well from the restarts. They no longer sealing the ball, etc. But then errors would become a problem, or they'd give up penalties, and suddenly the Crusaders would march straight down the pitch. And that's what happened really for that second penalty there. So they had some pressure in the Crusaders half, but 2 penalties and bang, suddenly 3 more down. But from the next one, they actually managed to get themselves a penalty and got 3 points on the board. That was after 21 minutes, so it's 13-3. The Crusaders then decided to go for the corner because they had 2 scores up rather than taking the threes. And unforced errors really were hurting the Blues. I mean, we saw Harry Plummer kick it out on the sort of drop the ball. A couple of kicks out on the full, but the Blues defence really did stand up, and it needed to, and it kept the Crusaders out, which meant that we finished at 13-3 at half time. In the second half, I mean, the pundits at half time were scratching around, going, "How can the Blues turn this around?" Because it really was all Crusaders in that first half. In the second half, the Crusaders continued to really dominate. We did have a rare Nanai break, but that really came to nothing. He tried to kick it through for the players coming up at the speed down the outside, only for Bridge to collect it and boot it off down the pitch. So the Crusaders did come back and score a try, but there was a knock on by Sever Reese in the build-up, which meant that was disallowed. So it stuck at 13-3. We had a kicking duel that ended up with Richie Mwanga having another penalty to have a pot at the over the post, and again he missed that one. There was another kicking duel where it got kicked up. The Bridge collected it, so they kicked over again because they knew there wouldn't be any Blues players back there. Richmond Mwanga collected it, and then he goes over. He goes in the corner and gets tackled and taken out of play. Everybody was watching that, thinking, "Oh, that was a little high there by Nanai." The referee decided that it hit in the shoulder/ball area, and that it had gone up as Richard Mo'unga was falling down. Now, I think pretty much every other situation we've seen in those sort of situations, that would be considered a high tackle. But he got away with this one because that would have been a penalty try and yellow card for Nanai. Again, the referee and the TMO, well, the TMO was a bit suspect about the tackle, and was saying, yeah, because they made sure Richard Mo'unga was on side, about whether did he get the ball down, did he go into touch, and he clearly knocks it on before the line. But the TMO was thinking, are you sure about the tackle? And the ref was saying, yep, I'm happy with the tackle. So the referee took control of that one. And so, so for all that action, we're still 13-3 with 52 minutes on the board. And at that stage, the Crusaders spent 8 minutes, or over 8 minutes, in the Blues 22, and the Blues had managed to spend 23 seconds in the Crusaders 22. And it was so one-sided. Then it would just, but the Crusaders just weren't getting the points on the scoreboard. I mean, it's talking about 2 disallowed tries and a missed kick. So they did leave a whole bunch of points out there. Then actually the Blues came back into it. A rare opportunity in the Crusaders half, so they kicked 3, which closed it to make it a 7-point game at 13-6. Only for them straight from the kickoff to give a penalty and allow Richard Mo'unga to get 3 points back, and suddenly it's 16-6 again. So it's a 10-point game, and you're thinking, geez. Just as the Blues get themselves into a game they should not have been anywhere near being in contention for, to be fair, they just make another mistake, and off they go. And that's a kind of what exasperates Blues fans is, every time the Blues do something decent, they then mess up again. Eventually on 70 minutes, and I must admit, I pretty much switched off here. I even sent a tweet in the first half saying, hey, this game's over. It's time to wear hairstyles. We're comparing Nonu's interesting hairstyle with 80s tennis players. That's kind of how much I switched off, because I thought it was just such a foregone conclusion. It didn't turn out that way, though, because a late try on 70 minutes by Rieko Ioane suddenly made it a 16-11 point game. Now, Rieko Ioane, fantastic player, but there are 2 things he really should do with sorting out. 1, if you're going to play on the left wing, you carry the ball in your left hand. He doesn't. He always carries it in his right hand. He doesn't defend because of that. And it also means the ball is exposed to the tackling players. What happened this time was, though, he went to put it down one-handed, and as he was putting it down, was there slight separation? The slower you showed it, the more likely it was. The ref again was like, nah, real speed, that's fine. I'm going to allow that one. It's fine. I'm happy with that, as with the TMO. But last night we had something a bit similar, perhaps slightly more clear with the put down. I think it was one of the Chiefs players, wasn't it, from last night, where he went to put it down one-handed, and the ball just separated from his hand as he's putting it down. So, and that got disallowed for a knock-on. Tonight they got away with it, which set up a good finish to the game, except the Crusaders basically took a stranglehold on it. A very silly penalty at line-out time meant that Mo'unga could knock over 3 points to make it 19-11 with a couple of minutes to go, which meant that, to put the Crusaders out an 8-point lead. Hence the game was won, and the Blues didn't even get a losing bonus point. And then, the Crusaders saw it out. Another penalty meant the Crusaders could happily just calmly kick it into touch after the hooter had gone, and it was all over. So some of those stats we were talking about, in there, that the penalty count was clearly very much against the Blues, which meant that we had 16 lineouts by the Crusaders to 6 by the Blues. I mean, 2 points here. One is that what we saw there was basically that the Crusaders were winning the kicking game, winning the territory game. So the Blues were having to kick out from their own 22 and kick the ball out because they were losing the kick-back game, and they were trying to just clear their lines so often. And basically, the Crusaders would do a line out, win the ball, and go back again. They did actually lose 3 lineouts in this game, which is out of their 16, but still 81% there. Turnovers conceded, 13 by the Crusaders, 17 by the Blues. The Blues had a pretty poor game. They did pull back that territory in that in that last quarter, so they actually did lead the territory in possession slightly in the second half. But as I say, their big problem was what was that penalty kick? And also their tackling down at 80%. The Crusaders 88%. Yeah, that was a bit too low by the Blues. A few too many tackles they were missing as well. Let's have a look at the players and player stats. Let me just share my screen so you can see the player stats provided by ESPN. And if we look on the attacking side, I've not checked these out yet, but I'm pretty sure we'll see that so some of the meters running by players like Havili, up there at 73. He's the highest run maker for the Crusaders. Bridge was very active as well. Relatively quiet game tonight. Jordan Tafua, he was very active, getting through a lot of work in this game. 32 meters, 11 carries. Just George Bridge with more carries than him there on that side. Looking at the Blues, Nanai, again, obviously being at the back, received a lot of kicks. What was it, 43 kicks I think it was that the Crusaders made, so he had lots of opportunities to collect and run ball back. So hence the high number of runs and meters carried. That wasn't the ball getting spun wide. Same for Clark and Rieko Ioane. Again, Rieko Ioane, I two of those runs when the ball went wide to him, that I can think of. Otherwise, the rest of them were running things back. Again, Harry Plummer, also involved in that side of things. Akira Ioane, quiet first half, much better second half. Got through some carrying as well. On the defensive side of things, big shift by the Blues hooker there, Apsia. 10 tackles, just one missed. Hodgman also with 9 tackles, even if he did give up that late penalty that allowed the Crusaders to pull away. Matt Todd, as you'd expect, 16 tackles, is way above anybody else. None missed as well. Did give up a couple of penalties, but that's what you kind of expect from your 7, isn't it, really? And it's good to check out that discipline, because I think it's going to be, there we go, Hodgman with 4, Tungafasi with 2, another 2 from Patrick Tuipulotu. Sorry, but that just was not good enough by the Blues. Obviously, being under pressure at scrum time doesn't help, which, as you can see, six penalties there by the 2 props. That shows you that at scrum time they were having problems. Interesting one over here, Scott Barrett, 4 penalties. I thought Matt Todd would have been higher. That's pretty high by Scott Barrett. He needs to look at that. For a non-prop to get 4 penalties in a game is extremely high, especially when that's half the penalties of your entire side from one player. So perhaps he's going to have a bit of a talking to on Monday morning when they do the game review. For the Blues, I say a lot of that was around scrum time, but also Hodgman's brain fade at the line out didn't help things either. So there we go. The Crusaders march on as we'd expect. The Blues, well, it's another poor season that's promised much. I mean, with those four wins on the trot at home, it really looked like they were building something, but they've still not managed to win a game away. That's 5 wins at home, none away from memory. Well, there's definitely none away, but I think it's 5 at home. So it's been a really poor, another disappointing season for Blues fans. For Crusaders, hey, they march on, not being as clinical as they'd want to be tonight. I say, with all that possession and territory in the first half, this game should have been put away well before the end. The fact that the Blues were in with a sniff of a chance with 10 minutes to go really was against the flow of the game. And congratulations to the Blues for sticking in there. But they're going to need to do more away from home. From that, but say the Red Machine rolls on. So next weekend, the Reds will be playing the Chiefs in Fiji for a Chiefs home game. I will be down the Zone Sports Bar in Hamilton, giving you a live show around that. So come and join me down there. If you're in Hamilton, come to the Zone Sports Bar to watch the Chiefs versus the Crusaders. I'm just going to quickly look up to see who the Blues have got next weekend. The Blues have got the Bulls up at Eden Park. The Bulls obviously losing 22-10 to the Brumbies last night. You've got to say the Blues at home should be with a good shout of winning that one. So thank you everybody for following, all that kind of stuff. Don't forget to subscribe up there. I'll have live post-match reaction to those two games next weekend. And so one of them will be live from the Zone Sports Bar down there. It's how you become a supporter of the channel. You can support this channel for as little as $1 a month and get access to exclusive opinion pieces that I do for my supporters. And over there are two videos that the Artificial Intelligence here at YouTube says you'll enjoy. So give them a check them out.